Happy Arvo. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. And a huge shout out to the people who are affected by this horrible, tragic flooding taking place in New South Wales right now along the coast, especially to the families of the 5 people who have passed away. Horribly tragic. Giant event happening right now. Another huge flood, mid-north coast, which to me sounds like Sydney, and those surrounding areas. I'm just trying to get caught up on what exactly happened. I didn't even know this flooding was happening until Friday. I'm not sure when it started. When I did my This Week in Australia. This one's by SBS News. I've just found a couple of things. I found, a general news story. I try to find one recent. So this is 18 hours ago. Hopefully it's got all the up-to-date information. And then I found what looked like an interesting clip of an Australian woman being rescued by a helicopter. Whew.
Resupply missions underway. Emergency response teams ensuring food, water and, in this case, medicine reach stranded residents. Whatever it
Is that a person stranded on
takes.
That little thing? Could that be? It's hard to make out what exactly that is.
Medicine reach stranded residents. Whatever it takes.
Oh my God.
Drones from Fire and Rescue New South Wales dropping hay to isolated farms. As floodwaters slowly recede, recovery efforts move up a gear. But more than
Can't help but wonder what they're spraying water on. A little bit counterintuitive.
30,000 people.
Unless they're, I don't know. Are they sucking it out of somewhere?
People remain isolated. The mid-north coast town.
How many people?
But more than 30,000 people
30,000?
remain isolated. The mid-north coast town of Wingham.
Oh my God.
Its historic Bight Bridge swallowed by floodwaters, severing a crucial connection to neighbouring towns. It's all hands on deck. Crews from across the country and New Zealand assisting local teams with relief efforts.
Hey, shout out to New Zealand coming in to help. That's awesome.
Our focus is very much now into the cleanup
I know you guys pretend to not like each other, whatever, bicker at each other, banter.
phase and the continued resupply service personnel, but they're smashing through some of these damage assessments in terms of getting a good understanding around where people specifically need help in different areas.
A massive shout out to all the first responders.
And concurrent with that, we're seeing really great community mobilisation.
Wow.
Acknowledge
That's how you know it's a good society, when you see the community, mobilize itself and just start helping.
tough challenges ahead
Which is like what happens here in America after a big hurricane,
for impacted communities. The Prime Minister says immediate financial support is available for the most vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
From 2 p.m. tomorrow, eligible individuals can apply for the Disaster Recovery Allowance. Some supermarkets in
I wonder how much that is.
affected areas have reopened, but supply chains remain under pressure due to limited access. The Weather Bureau says further
I
challenging
can't tell what is a lake or a river or flood.
conditions are expected, which could hamper recovery.
What we're going to see going into the next couple of days is a very strong cold front move across New South Wales, and that's going to bring very windy conditions to most areas.
Officials today also reiterating warnings not to take risks.
It is too easy for you to get stuck in those floodwaters, and our resources are focused in other areas, and I don't want my people or any of the emergency services having to put their lives at risk for people that are driving into floodwaters. So I want to see 0 flood rescues tomorrow.
Ready to lower?
More details are emerging of dramatic rescues that have taken place. 2 people and their 6 working dogs plucked from an inundated, isolated farm near Kempsey after being stranded for 3 days. Crews paddling 2 hours to reach the pair, together returning to safety in pitch black conditions.
It is beautiful when you see humans pretty much willing to do anything to rescue fellow humans, you know what I mean? Spare no expense or no effort, really no man left behind. That's pretty cool when you see that type of thing happen.
Rochelle Harrison-Pless, SBS
As tragic as it all is.
World News.
Our reporter Alexandra Jones is in Taree, where she's been covering the flood disaster over the past few days. Good evening, Alex. How have you seen the community come together there?
Good evening, Janice. Well, yes, this whole area around Taree resembled more like an ocean 4 days ago. But as those floodwaters have receded, they've left in their wake a trail of destruction. But we've seen the community immediately mobilise to assist each other, volunteers even coming from far and wide to assist this community, including members of the Sikh community from Melbourne who have set up this mobile kitchen behind me and say they've served more than 2,000 free hot meals to members of this community over the past 2 days. People.
And I just want to say, I do realize that, like, assuming this was Sydney or impacted Sydney is a little bit silly. Because obviously the New South Wales East Coast is gigantic. So maybe it was Sydney was impacted and maybe it wasn't. I'm not really sure.
Who haven't been able to return to their homes, really relying on donations and free meals like this during this time. The community spirit has been probably the most amazing thing we've seen during this disaster, helping each other not only with the mental toll of this crisis, but also the massive cleanup.
Farms on the outskirts of Taree flattened by floodwater. Nearly everything wiped out. Fences destroyed. Water tanks swept away. Electrical poles resemble islands. Dairy farmer Kevin Schlennert says he's lost his home and 70% of his livestock.
I have found 3 alive in my house here and 5 dead ones inside the house. It's heartbreaking to see them because you read them as babies.
Kevin says he was floating on a mattress in his house for 24 hours with his dog and
he's just worried about his animals. Oh my God, look at his house. Look, and he's floating on a mattress and he's just worried about his animals. That's pretty amazing.
Cows before he made it out, smashing a window, then picked up by a boat.
How freaking terrifying.
Thorne was
he definitely thought he was a goner. This is just terrifying.
The scene of dramatic helicopter rescues on Tuesday, and Kevin says the area needs flood warning sirens, with alerts from the SES and the media coming too late.
They go off quicker than what the SES can get the text messages to us. Make sure them sirens are put on the river, because you never know what Mother Nature's going to throw at us.
Just down the road,
seems like a simple enough request.
Farmer Daryl Hammond produces and supplies feed to farms across Australia.
I guess the difficult part is Australia is so vast and there's so many rural communities that it's like you never know exactly where it might impact. I guess, I don't know. And so you would need to put these sirens everywhere. I don't know though. I'm kind of talking out of my butt, per usual.
He says he's also lost cows, but his main business has been decimated.
I had over 1,000 bales of silage and they're all floated away. It's probably cost me $250,000.
Residents in Glenthorne say their tight-knit town now more closely resembles
$250,000, and he's still standing there smiling practically. You guys are something else.
A war zone.
Started to inundate the property Tuesday night to about here. I won't be back in this house in the next 12 months.
These streets are lined with piles of tangled metal, farm equipment and household items, all covered in a thick, muddy sludge. Residents who have lost everything have resorted to starting a fire to burn off some of the debris, saying they're relying on the community to help clean up.
The army would be down here by now. Local council, we haven't seen anyone, so we're now burning our stuff. We tried to line up at the tip yesterday and it took an hour and a half.
Appealing for donations, with most people here uninsured.
Who has $70,000 a year to insure your property?
Volunteers from around the community coming in to help, like local GP.
That's more than most people make. Well, I guess AUD. Still quite a lot.
Muhammad Ibrahim.
I have a couple of friends here. I'm coming to help them today.
Donations pouring in and volunteers from interstate even coming in to help, including the Sikh Australian volunteers, cooking and handing out free meals around the Taree area.
We nearly served
And it looks pretty damn good too, I'm not gonna lie.
nearly 1,000 meals today with our vans.
As stories emerge from survivors, painting a picture of the chaos of this week's crisis. After her home was flooded and belongings washed away, one
I
woman
just can't imagine.
had to travel 2 hours to the nearest accessible hospital after a stranded cow on the beach charged and trampled on her leg.
So just
What? A stranded cow on the beach trampled your leg? That's insane.
stressed, it started calling it like making that sound and stomping on me. And because it was obviously scared.
Hundreds of properties declared uninhabitable, leaving thousands displaced, with many unsure how they'll recover.
I don't know if I can bounce back from this.
Stories of loss
You
and
can,
survival, but with winter to set in, a long road to recovery ahead. Alexandra
so.
Jones, SBS World News.
Jesus, that was some incredible reporting. Let me say that. That was on the ground right there in the middle of it. Jesus, hearing straight from the people. My heart goes out to all these people, man. This is the helicopter rescue. Let me turn it down.
Hello, anyone in there?
Whoa, dude.
Hello? Ooh. I can't take anything with me.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
I've got tablets.
Yeah? We can take small medications, but that's it.
Oh, shit. Why did it end there? That was insane. Oh my God, that makes it all just feel so real, you know? This poor old lady. She wants her what does she mean, tablets? To be honest, at first I'm like, you're trying to bring your iPad? But she probably meant like pills. Pretty stupid mix-up. But yeah. Holy crap. I'm glad she got out okay. I mean, I assume she did, but the video cut off. Shout out to the rescuers, dude. Incredible. And also, can I say, I mean, it's Memorial Day over here in America. So shout out, huge shout out to all the men and women in the Australian Armed Services who gave their lives through the wars. Especially, you know, well, not especially, but, you know, a lot of them fighting right alongside the American soldiers. And thank you so much for watching. If you've been impacted by the flood, I am so sorry, and I hope, I don't know, what can you even say? I hope it all gets better. Jesus, I'll be following it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.